When a story becomes as popular as your name, the discussion inevitably gravitates towards making that which came before and after seem like a lesser work by comparison. Weathering with You oscillates between two themes that coalesce the narrative beats into a meaningful whole. The first one is the weather, and the movie combines Japanese mythology with modern-day climate change. According to the myth, the Weather Maiden will come once in a generation and her existence will result in endless rainfall in Japan. Hina's use of her power eventually weakens her, as the Weather Maiden is destined to be the one whose sacrifice would allow the world to go on. Hina could see a world where she could allow others to bask in the sunlight with their loved ones, a gift she never got to receive. Unlike those who got to have that which they desired, she never got the chance to have her wishes fulfilled through the miracle of a simple prayer. The nature of the Weather Maiden and her place in the world is one that brings tragedy to one blessed with the power to fulfill other people's wishes. But a blessing brings with it an equivalent despair. The endless rain wasn't the will of a god, but the fault of the world in that we were reckless. In putting the responsibility on someone else's shoulders, it eventually led to far worse a world than the one which we took for granted. The people treat climate change as punishment from the gods, from which only divine intervention can abate. Hina was the answer to decades of environmental abandon, to the point where she herself could not find it within to tell Hodaka when the price of her power became too high. What she wanted wasn't fame or money, but the simple desire to ensure that a baby girl or boy can have long walks in the sun with the ones they love the most. Haunted by the single prayer that was never answered, she could move the heavens for the desires of others, but the same heavens over which she holds command could not move for her sake. In existing purely for the wishes of others, she ceased being her own person, her body disappearing back into the world. The second theme is preserving the innocence of childhood. This theme is made obvious when the camera pans on J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye, a book which explores the themes of innocence, youthful angst, and alienation. Criticized for its negative critique of society, Catcher in the Rye became popular with teenagers than its originally intended adult audience. Even though he was on a personal journey, Hodaka had no direction. His desire for independence gave him the resolve to make the decisions that would eventually lead to fulfilling his own wishes. By the end of the movie, Hodaka confesses his love for Hina in willful disregard of the world that might suffer just so he could have the girl he loves. The moment captured the single-minded affliction of teenage romance. When you're young and in love, there is something about the world around you that makes it seem far less significant by comparison. Your entire world is the one who means the world to you, and nothing exceeds the desire to hold on to love's true form, especially when you have nothing else to compare it to. Like the adults around them when it comes to climate change, both Hina and Hodaka are acting on their own impulses for the sake of their own desires, and everyone seems to experience the consequences of their actions by the time Japan sinks back into the ocean. What I like about Weathering with You is that while Makoto Shinkai doesn't excuse their behavior, he also doesn't endorse it. Hodaka refused to sacrifice his own happiness for the sake of a world that would never even appreciate it, as everyone will just go back to destroying the planet all over again, and Shinkai let him live with the consequences of those actions. Hina and Hodaka are the ones who willingly chose a path that will give them the most to overcome. It's no mistake that Masayoshi Tanaka was the one entrusted with making these character designs, as the staple of his art has always been the ability to convey youthful characters trying to find their place in the world, which captured the themes of the narrative with seamless versatility. In the wake of Hina's sacrifice was Hodaka, the one who had finally found his place by her side, the one who desired nothing of the world but the girl who had given herself to it. The one who would let the world burn if it meant he would spend the rest of his life with the girl who carried his heart, even in death. The world could end at any time, but losing Hina was what he could not bear, even going against the morality of the world just to reach her. He would not live if it was without her. Even though she died for the world, she lived for him, and not even the end of time could keep them apart. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you want more anime content, be sure to check out my video on Goku, or you can watch my 2-part series on Deku, or you can just recommend something below. So I'm doing this thing where I'll be linking to other South African YouTubers on my end screen, and I recorded this before I decided who that person was gonna be. So basically these are creators that I think are actually great at what they do. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
世界が背中を向けてもまだなお立ち向かう君が